Hey, everybody. Welcome to a Zoom version of Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast. My name is Eugene Driscoll, and thanks for joining me in my basement, my bunker, which has become temporary home to the Valley Independent Sentinel. Why? We all know why. COVID-19 pandemic. Stay safe, stay home, practice social distancing. If you go out in public, wear a mask. Joining me for this very special episode, a little change of pace here. This is, I think, my 16th podcast or Zoom video podcast thingy that I've done in the last month or so. And the person on your screen is Jason Edwards, who is a student. Are you still a student at Southern, Jason? I don't want to get this all wrong.
Yeah, I am a junior at Southern Connecticut State University. I'm studying journalism with a minor in public relations right now.
Okay, and the reason Jason is on the program is because he's a photographer, and he has started a photo series in the Naugatuck Valley titled Exposure, Quarantine in the Valley. Do I have that right so far?
Yes, yep. So I've been doing this for the past couple of weeks now, ever since the quarantine went into effect. I've been kind of going out when I'm not stuck in my home. Sometimes, cabin fever is kind of getting the best of me, so I'm like, okay, I'll go take.
Let's just before you jump into it, I just want to make sure that, please, for the love of God, tell me you're wearing a mask when you're taking the photos recently, and you're maintaining at least a 6 foot distance.
Of course. So I've been wearing a mask, wearing gloves, 6 feet always. What I do is when I approach people or ask them to take their photos, I've been mostly reaching out to people through Facebook. So I tell them, hey, I'll take a photo right outside your house, you and your family. I'll probably I always bring a long lens with me, and I always shoot at like 200 millimeters. So there's a far enough distance to be had when we're doing these kind of interactions. So social distancing is an event. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is I was just, I'm running hot right now. I mean, I was just on a local community page where somebody asked, this person had observed that he or she is not seeing a lot of people in public wearing masks. And I was out Saturday, sort of through no choice of my own, but I ended up working a whole day Saturday. And I'd say about 50% of the people I encountered were wearing masks. And anyway, on this Facebook page, somebody wrote that he or she has not worn a mask at all, considers it a personal preference, and that these masks are for healthcare providers and high risk. And this person doesn't fall into either of those categories. And I guess as a public service announcement, not that Jason came on to hear me blab on and sort of mansplain why we're wearing masks, but the masks that are being talked about here that we're wearing in public are not the kind that are manufactured for healthcare. We're talking about cloth masks here. So, and the purpose of this, if you have COVID-19 and don't know it and are out not wearing a mask, it's not so much that you're in trouble, but if I encounter you and I come down with COVID-19, maybe I'm not in trouble. But if I bring it home to my son upstairs who has asthma, he could be in trouble. So personal preference or not, my personal preference is not to have my son infected with the COVID-19 virus if I can help it. So I would gently suggest that people go to the CDC website, get off Facebook to some extent, don't take medical advice or any type of advice on mask information from me or anybody on Facebook. You can go directly to the source, and I'm just going to share it very quickly, and then we're going to learn more about Jason. But here it is right here, CDC guidance on homemade cloth face coverings. CDC also advises the use of simple cloth face coverings to slow the spread of the virus and help people who may have the virus and do not know it from transmitting it to others. I get the live free or die philosophy, but we're talking about being in this together. And to some extent, my opinion, I would suggest that wearing some type of face covering, if you're in a public place, especially a grocery store or something like that, is demonstrating that, yes, we are all in this together. rant over. Jason, tell me a little about yourself before we get into the project. Did you grow up in the Valley? Where are you from? And how did you get interested? What corrupted you? What is wrong with you to make you consider journalism as a career? I'm sort of joking. In 2020. So where are you from, Jason?
Well, so I'm from here in the Valley. I've been living in Ansonia my entire life. I went to Ansonia High School. I'm a graduate. Eagle Scout. I've been in the community. I've been involved in the community for my entire life. So doing this project is sort of my way of giving back. I also work at Southern as one of the university photographers. So in the Office of Integrated Communications and Marketing, I do a lot of photography. So I do part journalism, part public relations, which is a great uh, uh, dyad. I don't know what you
Oh,
call it,
that's
but a
good.
good,
I like it. Diet. Yeah. Let's go with diet.
but it's a good contrast when you're working in journalism and public relations. So you get to see both sides of media in the industry. So it's been a good learning experience so far. And because of this whole quarantine, I felt like I shouldn't really be sitting around, but also at the same time, I need to know that I need to be safe doing it at the same time. So I had to come up with a way to express myself while also being safe. So that's one of the reasons why I've been doing this project in the
And
meantime.
and I saw I'm actually following your post because we're in some of the same Facebook groups here in the Valley. I mean, I live in Derby, and you saw another photographer, another publication had done a similar thing, sort of doing these photojournalistic portraits of people in quarantine, right? Where was that from? Do you remember?
Right. So I saw an article from the Hartford Current, and there was this journalist who was going around with his family, going up to people that they know and families that they know, just taking their portraits outside their house. So I'm like, okay, that's a good idea. And in fact, that idea was stemmed from another photographer up in Massachusetts. So this sort of trend has been going on in the New England area for a little while now, past couple weeks at least. So I really wanted to replicate that here in the Valley.
And I do appreciate it because being a one-man news operation, I can write stories to a certain extent. I can struggle through a Zoom meeting and get this online. But if you look at the valleyindy.org, you'll notice not a lot of photographs happening.
Right.
I don't have that skill set, so I'm tending to use that CDC issued COVID-19 germ again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
So there is value, very much so, to documenting what's happening in our community and our country right now. And you said you work for the university as well as part of their photo staff there.
Hmm.
Is the university going to be? I assume you're working remotely and having Zoom meetings like this with your supervisors all
Yes.
the time. Are they going to
Yes,
be using?
exactly.
Are they going to be using this display in some way?
Um, what are you asking? Like the photos that I take, or just like the
Yeah, are they
general
going
meeting?
to? Is Southern Connecticut State University going to put any of these photos on their website? Is it part of your work for them?
We've been discussing it. We're actually thinking about ways of trying to implement this project somehow with the staff and students of Southern. So it's taking a little bit of time, but what I urge people to do during this time is take as many photos as possible. I mean, this is a historic moment. I mean, once in a century. If you think about it, the Spanish influenza was 1918, and it's been looking at the numbers, it's sort of having the same effect as it has now. So I mean, take as many photos as possible. You have a camera. I mean, you have a phone on you. Just go ahead safely take photos of when you go shopping, of the people you meet, of anything possible. Because I remember before I left Southern, my boss was telling me during this time, you're going to see things that you aren't going to see again for the rest of your life. So it's going to be I think already it's being a well documented pandemic. So I think it should be documented more by people, especially here in Ansonia, Derby, and the lower Naugatuck Valley.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not something we see again. I'm a little
No, well, no,
hopefully this
no,
is
absolutely not.
El Nino. But all right, so let's get to the photos. I've blabbed on for much too long. We've learned a little bit about Jason from Ansonia, an Eagle Scout no less, and a student and a student worker at Southern Connecticut University. And actually, I knew you, I was aware that you were doing this, and also a former colleague from the Valley Indy now teaches at Southern, Jody Gill, also
Yes.
sent me an email being like, hey, Jason Edwards is doing this cool thing. So I'm going to go to one of the photos, assuming I don't mess it up. I'm going to go to, let me make sure I have it show. There it is. I'm going to go to share screen, and I don't want to share my downloads for some reason. That pops up. I don't know why, but let's go to our first photo. That come up for you, Jason?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So this was the first photo that was in the series. I posted something on Facebook saying, "Hey, I'm starting this project," and this family responded right away. If you go over to the name, you can actually see. Maybe not. Sometimes it will give you the name of the family. It's not coming to mind, but a lot of these families are really, really nice people, and they were very willing to have their photo taken. So
let me go back in there, because I think I might have, by going through the share, I ruined your website. So don't worry,
no
I'll
worries.
pick it up. Oh, I see what it did. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I see it. Zoom displayed it in an entirely different way. So let me go in there again. Sorry about
Gotcha.
when I shared it, it did it in a different order. So
Right.
with me 1 minute again. And what's it like been taking classes online? How is that going for you?
It's been all right. I already take 2 online classes already, so it's not much of a change. But in terms of classes that I usually like to have in person, there's definitely a change. Like especially for my journalism classes, I have to sort of remotely work now. I'm working on a final video project where I have to FaceTime people and record the interviews. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but so far it's not that bad. But also at the same time, I really like to be back on campus.
Mhm.
But that's going to take some time, obviously.
Okay, so here we are back, Jason, on your
Yeah.
project Exposure Quarantine in the Valley. And do you remember the name of this family? I don't think it's popping
Yes.
up.
This is Nicole Simmons and her daughter and the cat. They were the first people that I photographed, and they were totally willing to be photographed. And what was great about them was they actually kind of uh, connected me with more people to take photos with. So that was sort of the first photo that kind of led me on the series of photography.
What city or town are they from?
This is Ansonia. This is right near Pine Grove Cemetery
I like
on
that.
Church Street.
I got a
Big,
cat Christmas Eve. I like that there's a leash on the cat. My cat won't
yes.
do that.
Yeah.
It's an
This is
interesting one. Yeah, what's going on here?
Palm Sunday at Holy Rosary Church. Again, people were driving through. They had masks on, so it was sort of interesting seeing a priest with a mask on, with gloves. You don't. Again, these are things you don't see on a daily basis. So this is something that I felt needed to be captured.
I had Pam Maudie on a few weeks ago on this podcast talking about how to deal with stress and anxiety. And one of the things that is recommended, I mean, there's all those things, we all mindfulness and turn off cable news and go for a jog, but also faith. Faith is going to be increasingly important going forward as we all get through this together. So there's another photo uh,
Hmm.
from Palm Sunday. Okay, what store is that right there?
This is this is the Daily Mart actually down on North Main Street. I had to go in there a couple times to pick up the newspaper for my grandma. She loves reading the newspaper every day. So I went in there and they had this big plastic sheet over the front counter that I thought was kind of interesting. So I just took this with my iPhone
Oh,
and
no kidding.
yeah. So again, anyone can take photos. I'm serious. You don't have to have a big DSLR to get good images. So first rule, anyone can take a photo, and this is proof.
And then next to that photo, who is this family and where?
Um, this is, I believe, this is the. Let me see. I have a list of people that I took photos with. Um, this is the Cardenas. They live in Derby. Again, full family. Um, Again, also, this is a good way to just sort of connect with people. I was able to get their contact information, and down the road, just some advice to photographers, if you're listening, this is a good way to just make connections with people and start boosting up clientele if you want to. So networking is kind of important during these times as well. So this was a perfect time to do it. And this was I didn't catch this family's name. They didn't want their last name, obviously, but they're from Derby, and they were just taking a walk, and I'm like, hey, can I take your photo? And they're like, sure. So grandma and grandpa was hanging out with their granddaughter, so that was a nice moment to capture.
Which actually shouldn't be done. Let's just throw that out there right now. It's not the time to visit grandma and grandpa.
No,
The governor
no.
of Lamont. But then now, where is this one? This is interesting because there is that sort of. I encountered this when I went down to Maddie's Deli on Roosevelt Drive here in Derby. All these, markers that have gone up designating what 6 feet is, and it's a surreal thing to walk into and sort of dystopian. But where was this?
This is in the Target in Ansonia. Uh, I had to stop in there like 2 weeks ago, and they just had these signs started going up, and it was kind of interesting to see. So just simple shots of the feet.
And this is, of course, Ansonia's Main Street,
Hmm.
heading towards Route 115.
Yep.
The old bakery there.
Yeah, I miss Eddie's.
Uh,
I'm telling you.
yeah.
And
In
this is
here.
one of the barber shops. I think this is across from Seckham's. This is
Oh, this is under my office, or actually, I just moved out of the Ansonia office over the weekend. But yeah,
oh,
okay,
really? Yeah,
this is
yeah.
Beauty and Barber. Yeah.
Yes, this is again, not only is this having an effect on businesses um that are stores or restaurants, barbershops are being closed down. So people have to kind of rely on getting their own haircuts or cutting their hair at home if they need to.
That's why you see this go. I got my Corona hair going big time. I'm bringing back
Yes.
the '87.
Yeah, same.
And again, this is Main Street Ansonia again, right? What business is it? Oh, okay, Lewis Jewelers. Okay.
Yeah, Lewis Jeweler.
And there's just been a new initiative announced by the city of Ansonia where you can support these businesses through T-shirt purchases. If you go to the City of Ansonia Facebook page or the cityofansonia.com government page, you can find out more information here. So explain this one to me. Hey,
So
that
this was
the Valley Indy office used to be right up here. We were in the back of this building.
the old roots. This is Main Street Ansonia. They painted a blue line down the middle of the road to signify coronavirus awareness, unity. So I thought that was sort of an interesting composition. So I got it down close and took a photo of that.
And here we have another family portrait that you did. Wow,
Yeah.
are these brothers?
What's that?
I
Those
said,
are all brothers. Yeah.
are these? Wait, hold on. Let me do the. You'll love this, right? Are you a millennial? Millennials love when older guys do this, right? Let me
Yeah,
say it
sure.
again. Are those brothers? It didn't work. Never mind. Okay, so I was trying to do with sound effects. So how did you get into this? Oh, wait, here's the joke. There we go. 10
There
minutes
we go.
ago.
Perfect.
Sorry
Hey,
about that. I
well,
would edit that out, but I don't know how. So
that
how
was
do you get
great.
into
That
Go
was
ahead.
great with me. Um, I'm trying to find the name of this family, but they live in Ansonia, and
While you look for the name, I'll play some cheap sound effects.
beautiful.
I'm going to keep scrolling. We can come back.
Yeah,
Oh, you were up in Oxford?
yeah.
All the
So
American flags.
yeah, all the American flags. I mean, people are kind of just trying to show their own support in their own way, which is a very interesting thing. Um, I was talking to my parents, and they say it's kind of having like a 9/11 vibe to it, like this sort of like unity and
Yeah, there
coming
was
together.
on September 12th through like the 15th, there was tremendous patriotism and things like that. Yeah, this is like that, but it's just weirder. It's just
Exactly right.
weird thing because it's something's out there, and I don't know. It's just bizarre.
Hmm.
Oh, where's this one? Is this where's this church here? Praying for our
That's
city.
yeah, that's Holy Rosary Church.
Okay.
Um, I thought they've been putting up those signs in the churches around the areas. So again, a lot of this comes down to editing. I thought the editing had to be kind of important. You got to pick colors that are right, sort of just direct the viewer's eye and make some really good compositions.
And like here's another family portrait. Are you giving the families copies of the
Yes,
photos after you're done, or?
yeah. So they get digital copies of each of the photos, so they can use however they want. Um, those are the Merinos. They're from Ansonia. Let me see who else I have. The woman and her baby. Those are the Bryants in Ansonia as well. And
There was the three brothers and their mom. That was the one we didn't have. If you have that handy, but with
I do not
one of them's
believe
AJ.
so.
We got AJ. He's wearing an Ansonia sweatshirt there.
Yep, they're all Ansonia natives. So
This
I've been trying
is
to.
Nike. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a All right. That's it. This is a fantastic photograph that I may steal from you with permission.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because
Um,
I haven't been to a supermarket. Like I said, I am totally sticking to the social distancing stuff because I have a child with asthma, and uh, I'm getting my food other ways.
yeah.
But so where is this and what's happening?
So this is ShopRite. I went in
Which
last week in Derby, the ShopRite in Derby, and I went in, no line. It wasn't really that busy in the store because I think they're limiting the people in the stores. And I came out, and there was a line going all the way down the mall, and I was kind of took me back. So I got my phone, I took a picture, I just kept walking, and I really captured. Looking back at it, I really captured the mood of this whole entire pandemic, I think, with this one photo. Because, of course, if you look at it, the family off to the left, they're looking at me, they're really pissed. They don't want their photo taken, but I felt it was important. And you could tell if you look closely, there's a little girl with the bunny ears on there too. So it's a sign of the times. I mean, um, sure,
Yeah, it's living
people,
history right there. I mean, that's just living history, and just to
it
throw,
is.
it's people are. What about when was this taken? Do you know? Was this
I think this was a week ago. I think I went to ShopRite about a week ago.
the CDC and the Naugatuck Valley Health District have advised people if you designate one person to go grocery shopping to try to continue to stem the curve here, stem the virus and flatten the curve. But yeah, that's a picture of what's happening. That's photojournalism right there. So, and then in the Derby ShopRite, you're saying.
Yes. Yep.
All right, here my editing. Not I know nothing about photos, but as a newspaper guy or a former newspaper guy or an online newspaper guy, I put this one at the top. That'll draw people in.
Thank you.
You know.
Thank you. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Absolutely.
oh,
It's
okay, and then here they are again displaying in another way because the lead right and I'm getting. Are you seeing my Facebook messages as they pop up by any chance? That
no, I'm not.
Okay,
Nope.
good. I'm getting all these Facebook messages from degenerates throughout the tri-state area. But yeah, that's a wonderful photo, Jason. So how much
Thank you.
longer do you plan to do this? And this is, of course, I know
Um,
Turkey's Oxford, right? Obviously, that's got to be Oxford, I assume.
that's actually my like down the street from me.
Oh, okay, it sounds
I
so.
was outside I was outside flying my drone one day, and I looked down and I see these turkeys walking across the road. I'm like, wow, in the middle of April, these turkeys. So I got a photo of the turkeys. Again, it's just capturing my life right now.
What are you doing with the
Um,
drone? What kind of images are you or videos? Or what are you getting with the drone?
just amateur stuff. So I just been flying it around, a little hobby drone because a lot of the people that I work with, they do a lot of drone flying, and they're like, "Oh, come on, Jason, you got to get a drone." So I'm like, "Okay." I bought a drone. It's a lot of fun. It's just a hobby that I've been picking up, and now definitely during this quarantine, it's fun kind of going out and getting visuals from above. So I might throw some drone footage in there too. We'll see.
Very nice. So I displayed the website during this whole interview. So if anybody wants to go back, check out Jason's stuff. And Jason, I want to thank you for coming on here. This is definitely a change of pace. I'm sorry I either lectured you, talked too much, or cracked some horrible jokes, but just know
No, that's
you're helping
fine.
me. This interview is helping me get through this, so I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. I mean, I hope everyone just stays safe and washes their hands and just sticks by the guidelines, because I think if we stay inside and we follow the rules, we'll be out of this in no time. I have faith in
Through
that.
it. We are getting
Yep,
through it. All right,
we
sir.
are. Thank
That's
you
it.
so
Take care.
much. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.